right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. This is episode 14. We're here with Tunde Akinlosotu from Tormenta FC, and my co-host today is Eddie Cedro from District Reign FC. He's one of our academy players with our U23 squad. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to episode 14.
Hello, I'm Tunde Akinlosotu from South Georgia, Tormenta. Graduated from George Mason University down in Fairfax. I graduated with Information Systems and Operation Management degree. Just graduated this past summer and came down to Tormenta about a month ago.
Okay.
Welcome. Thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
Eddie, how you doing?
I'm good, you know. It's kind of a slow day, but we'll get through it.
All right, so let's get into some of our questions. We're here to talk about, Tunde, we're here to talk about your journey coming from the DMV, playing, as a young person and going into D1 soccer. How did you get started? Where did everything start for you?
For me, it started with my brothers playing ahead of me. I have two older brothers. I used to watch them at first when I was too young to actually play with them, and then just started playing with them. And then from there, went to another local club in Bowie, where I got coached by one of my friends' dads and my dad, who really helped me get started in soccer. And then from there, I went on to Free State in Bowie as well. And I remember when I was 14, 15, I was getting pretty good. And then I had to make a decision to either stay or leave to a better club to enhance my growth. And I ended up leaving, which was a hard decision for most 14-year-olds to go hour away. But I think most of our team did that and decided to play at Baltimore Bays.
Gotcha. Eddie, do you have any questions? My computer froze a little bit, so I missed some of that. I'm sorry.
I guess I'll say, kind of like tying on to what you said, I'll say, like, how can I word this? When did you, at that young age, when did you realize, like, soccer's for me and I want to 100% take this serious?
That's a good question. I think when it started to not take over my life, but consume my life. Like, when I was playing soccer was when I was happiest, not in the classroom, not out with friends was enjoyable, but like playing on the field and scoring goals, I think that was the best feeling to me when I was growing up. Just getting that euphoria feeling every time I scored. I knew I needed to have it every time. So as time went on, I just continued to grow closer and closer, just love it more and more. And then eventually it just clicks that, like I can actually do this. This isn't just a dream anymore. I have to make this reality.
I think that's a great point, because that euphoria is so addictive, right? And the steps that you have to take to keep getting that next what's the word I'm looking for? Fix. The next fix of, yes, I scored this goal. You have to keep improving, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if you score 5 million goals against the 5-year-olds, that's great, but it doesn't get the same feeling. So you have to continually develop. So how did you deal with that as a young person?
I really think the environment where I was growing up from 15 to 18 really helped that. Like, I think my whole team, every day for practice, it was a battle. Like, I think that was the best environment that I've been in a while, where every single person on the field knew that their one job was to get better that day. Like, there wasn't taking plays off. There was that competitive edge, and trying to be the best, like a competitive relationship with all my friends, like forwards, defenders. Wanted to beat one of my best friends every time. Just he's on another team, I'm gonna score every time, and it's just more. You just keep driving that every day, and then it just becomes normal. And at that point, it was just every day, just going out to work and hopefully getting the most out of that practice and not leaving with could have done more of that play or anything like that. Just continuing to get past the defender, and eventually you just keep going past the next defender and next defender, and then the level starts to rise as you do.
Get addicted to the improvement.
Right.
Get addicted to the improvement.
Yeah. Right. You won't get anywhere unless you fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players are like, they fall in love with the dream first. They forget about the things they have to do every day. So what was it like going from that community or that sense of community and development going to play D1 at Mason?
It was interesting, to say the least. I think I wish I had more guidance before going in, because I can look back now, and if I was to advise a guy who's going into college, I would say, like, yes, your team practice is the most important because you are part of a team, but it's still about finding what you do best and working on that as well. Like, you're a piece of a puzzle, but you have to be the best piece of that puzzle that you can be, not just fit into systems, fit into roles. Like, it's still, I think I kind of went into not a robot phase, but just, I'm going to do this to get on the field. I'm going to do this to get on the field, not I'm going to do me the best I can to get on the field. And it's more, I had to adapt very quickly. It was more taxing, more on the legs, more everyday things. The intensity, I would say, was about still the same, just because I was already practicing so high of a level, I feel, going into George Mason, that I didn't have to switch it on too much. It was just more of being focused more, being the little details. And it took 4 years to really not master, but improve in that little details where I had bad habits going in, where I would take a little play off, but then that really starts to catch up to you when one turns into two, turns into three, and then it's a habit.
Yeah.
Okay. About how did you develop that type of mentality to keep improving at these next levels you keep going to?
At first it was my friends driving me. I think at first it was a good circle that I had going into college, then continuing through college. It was just still checking in on each other and just saying, yeah, like, keep going at it. Like, there obviously is going to be ups and downs. And through those ups and downs, I just still had to find strength in my family, my friends. And there was definitely hard times, but it's sometimes you'll need other people to pick you up. And sometimes you can obviously do it yourself. And I think my most recent phase of a low, I just started to read more. I just started to read about relentless mentalities, like your body, and just how much I control, not how much other people dictate for me. And I think that really has helped me now to know that I can improve every day if I truly want to and try to.
Yeah, that's super insightful. Go ahead.
What's it called? Did you always have this type of confidence, even from a young age?
Yeah, I actually think when I was younger, it was more. I think when I was like 16 was when it was like the peak confidence, where everything was, I think I just did whatever I feel like. And I think that helped me develop the confidence now, but the humble aspect of it. Like, yes, I was good, but I was only good in the circle where I was. And then out of there was other good players in their circles, and then other good players in other circles. And I always drew confidence knowing that I had confidence in my own abilities. And yeah, I think just over time, I just kept working on what I thought I was good at. And eventually you get confident enough to know that if I am my best, I can do what I want to do.
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing like the confidence of being 16. um, well, that's a question for later. So going into Mason, right? You had this, this great network, and you stayed in the area, so the network was kind of still there. Um, how did you apply that to being a student athlete? Because college is way different than being in high school.
Network as in friends and connections to other people and the area.
Yeah, because I'm building into a question I'm going to ask a little bit later. But in terms of transitioning into a new environment,
yeah.
So going from being a student athlete in high school to being a student athlete at a D1 school,
yeah,
what supports did you need? What supports did you rely on? And kind of how did you make that adaptation?
For me, it was my academic advisor for athletics was a huge role in my success for school. When I needed almost anything, she was always there, and it was a good feeling to know that if you even felt like there was a little stress in school or there was a stress like scheduling, then I could go into her, and that really took a lot of the school weight off my shoulders, to where I knew that she would help set my schedule up best for me to succeed. So I didn't have to struggle too much when, like my senior year, clearly I went in knowing that I had her full support for all the school sides. So it was more, I had to do my part on the field and in the classroom, and she would just make it as not enjoyable, but as easy and the easiest route possible for me. And family was always there, like when I needed help and advice or anything. My brother is obviously there, only a text away, so that was always good. And I like to keep my circle smallish, so the people that I rely on are often the same ones, so they know the most about me, which is a good thing, obviously. And then when I need to be checked, they're always the ones. So it was good to still be close to the same environment. And the network, obviously it expanded a little because now new coaches, new training staff, new everything, and adjusting wasn't too hard. Yeah, it wasn't too hard, but still was challenging at first just because you're gone now. But being in boarding school before kind of took that college feeling away, where I was away because I was already away for 4 years.
Yeah. Nice. Go ahead, Eddie.
I was just gonna say that it goes to show that like support can take you a long way.
Yeah, for sure. You need support.
Yeah. What was your kind of school to training workload or balance?
Mine was pretty mixed. Definitely times in the spring where soccer obviously was the far goal and the main focus, but in the short term, it was a lot of, all right, this needs to get done. And then I'll focus on soccer when soccer's happening from 10 to 12. But from the rest of the day, like I need to get this done. And obviously there's other days where it's relaxed, but majority of it was just balancing, just spending time on soccer during the hours that I needed to, and then getting the rest done. So I had downtime at times, but it definitely got hectic during some weeks near finals, near exams and midterms. It always had its moments, but if you manage your time, then it'll be easier for yourself to know that, yeah, I can do this today and then have tomorrow to focus on other things or relax or things like that.
Yeah, that goes back to what you were talking about with, controlling the things that you are able to control. Totally. Time management being one of those.
For sure, it's a big one in college.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just jump right into saying like on your lows in your career, like how did you push through your biggest lows?
Going back to that 16-year-old kid, I think sometimes the worst is when I get in my own head and I just overthink. But then it's like at the end of the day, I'm playing because I like this. I'm in love with it. It's not because it's my job. Like, yes, I want it to be a job, but I just have to go back to thinking about having fun. And I think the most when I'm at my lows is when I'm stressed or anxious or thinking about the future and thinking about things I can't control. I can only control like being myself in the moment. And I think now I really got a grasp of how to turn the lows into highs very quickly now versus before where it could go like a couple days, a week, and I just feel down. But now it's just going back to myself and thinking about the things that make me me, and it helps me. So I think if you're feeling low, like it's just got to find things that trigger you back to being happy, and that's pretty important for me.
Yeah, that's great.
It was really good.
And that's a skill, right? So how did you develop that skill, or did it just like pop like, oh, this is something I can
No,
do this thing?
that definitely came from reading as well. Like in college, I kind of put off reading. I was always one of those guys that just said like, books, that's not for me. But I guess I needed to find books I was interested in and things that helped me and also related to soccer. So in the end of the day, I was invested in it, like just mindfulness and meditating and yoga, like things that I explored that ended up working out really well for me. And now it's my go-to. So yeah, it was a lot of reading and looking inside myself, not just pointing fingers saying, I didn't get a chance, or it didn't go for me. It's more, or we'll get the next one and we'll turn it around, or, oh, I'm just going to go outside and train there. I can control the now. And that's what I just started doing, just living in the moment, basically.
Yeah. That mindfulness being a really important technique to practice.
Yeah.
I would say, how about explaining the type of hard work you had to put in to get to where you are now?
Jeez, explaining it.
Like just like the things you went through, the things you had to do.
Yeah, it was a bunch of repetition, a bunch of doing. I guess the things that I didn't necessarily want to do, like on having a routine and sticking to it was probably the hardest thing I could have done that I did. Waking up at 7 every day to go train, whether you're tired, your stomach ache, your head hurting. Like it's just about being consistent and keeping the end goal in mind. Like I think it was just a lot of hours, just a lot of mental hours, just saying let's go do it. A lot of geez, it was a lot of hard workouts, hard in the school as well. Like it wasn't easy, obviously, for any athlete who is also in school. That it's doing both is no joke. And once you just put your head down and say I'm gonna finish, I'm gonna do it, then you're just in a zone that you can't just get out of. And then all the hard work is just minuscule in the end because you reached it. So the hard work was I enjoyed it, to be honest. It made me now enjoy working hard.
Yeah, awesome. I think it's that conscious decision that a lot of players miss, and that kind of derails their path. Because you do have to make that decision. Like, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do this, and you clearly have done that. We can see that in your development,
Yeah.
To where you are now, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that making conscious decisions to make it happen. And and pushing to get that goal out.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's kind of start moving into the transition of going from D1 now into your current club.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start with when I was not graduating, finishing our fall season at Mason in November, and didn't know what I was gonna do next, to be honest. Like, our season was still going on, so I wanted to focus. Going into our last game, a quarterfinal versus VCU, it was bittersweet knowing that now we're going into the last games of what could be my college season. So going out there, and I was hurt the quarterfinal game, it was just trying to go when I knew that my body wasn't fully ready. And I think that was pretty frustrating for me, going out like that, not my best, like, physically, but having to still go out there. And I think that moment kind of turned into a low when we went into PKs, and my body just wasn't feeling good enough to take a PK. And I shied away from it just because I knew that if someone else was at their best who wanted to take it, that I didn't want to have to live with that burden of missing 50% on one leg and then them being there taking it and not taking it at 100%. I can't think it kind of started a out of body experience where that's not me. That's not something I would do when I was 16. So I feel, and then from there I went to a combine in Toronto where I still just felt out of body. No, like, confidence was lower. Things were just changing, and it took a while to get out of that. I think with Corona, then things even went not lower, but I went down to Richmond after the Toronto thing didn't go well, and I was hoping for the best, but still just wasn't feeling how I used to feel. And then finally, I think training with my friends again, with just people that I knew were pushing me every day. And then I got my level to a really good level again, and then went to FC Baltimore and did well, and then finally got the chance here. And yeah, that's the since my last game, I think it was just a roller coaster, and then hopefully it's going back up now.
Yeah, I think going all the way back to that kind of out of body experience that you had, it, you know, kind of in the scrum of the PKs, and you're lacking this confidence, but you're also kind of showing this maturity because you're making this team decision.
Yeah.
So what was going through your mind while you were doing that?
It was a lot of emotions, a lot. The biggest was frustration, just because I know that after 4 years with them, it was potentially a last kick I could have, and just not feeling good enough to take it was just really frustrating to me. Ate at me for a while that I could have potentially been a game swinging PK at that point, but then looking back on it, I have to live with the decision I made. And I guess obviously I'm the one who made the decision, so I have to respect that for myself, because then it would just eat at me for a while. But in the time, it was frustration, anxious for the person stepping in to take their PK and make it. And then obviously when we lost, I felt guilt because I could have made that PK, but I guess it was a lot of emotions. And I think looking back on it, would I have done the same thing? I don't know, but definitely had to think about it. And
think about it twice.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess it just takes me back to where I was when I was 16, and just how that type of confidence in player, I think, is, as a winger, I need to develop again, and it needs to be cut or kill or be killed. And that's literally the mindset that I think, that the confidence mindset on the field that can come back. And it is starting to show, but it takes a while, I think, to get back. But it's definitely on the way.
Yeah. And then let's go through the combine process a little bit for viewers that may not be familiar with what it is, or the inner workings of moving through combines and things like that.
So Toronto had, I guess, a scout at one of our games, I believe, against St. Louis, not sure. And after the season, they reached out to, I think, like 60 of us, and we had a combine in Toronto for them. And it was to, I guess, to see which guys they wanted to potentially draft. And it's just a way to get to, obviously, to see players for a club that thinks that they can either draft the player can help, or anything like that. And that was what it was. It was 3 days, trained in the morning, trained in the afternoon, played 2 games. They kept us in a hotel, everything, and it was a good experience. Yeah, it was definitely a good level, obviously, with the best college kids there as well. So it was definitely good to see the other people that they were looking at, and it was actually an honor. Obviously, you have to take everything in the light, and it was an honor, obviously, to be selected with other good people to be showcased.
And then you went to Richmond. Was that like a combine that was in Richmond, or was that with the Kickers? Or
it was with the Kickers. It was, I would say, practicing with them while I finished school, looking to sign. And I was at school, so it was a 2-hour drive every practice. But some of the sacrifices that obviously I felt like I could make at the time because of Corona. So going down there, and it was a good experience. Obviously, anytime you get to train with the pro team, you have to take it for what it is. And the level was obviously higher than in my past. So it challenged me, just because coming off 2 months without training with any team again, it was good to get back into the grittiness of practice and going against other people. And it was a good experience. Yes. And then Corona happened, and then things kind of just settled down with there. And then summer, and then FC Baltimore.
How did you deal with the Corona pivot? Like, how did you maintain your fitness, your mentality? Because you obviously maintained something in order to get through FC Baltimore and then to Tormenta.
Yeah. Well, me and my friends, we would just train in Colombia, and the level was obviously really good, since I rate all of them as very high players. So it was very good. Like, we would do all the, I guess, not basics, but all the things that got us to where we were: dribbling drills, passing drills, agility, plyometrics. And it's just a lot that we've all grown with. Like, our practice sessions are now very good. Like, they hit every aspect of what we need. So it was very helpful to get back to where I needed to be. I think I neglected it majority of my 4 years, not all of it, but the constant repetition every day for 3 months, 2 months really, really boosted me back up and got me out of a slump. I definitely, and just loving soccer again, and definitely helped.
Yeah,
like it does sound weird to say that the outbreak was a good step, but it allowed me time to take a step back and breathe and just take everything in for what it is, and then plan how I was going to attack it, and then ended up working out as a benefit. I took the time away as a benefit.
Yeah, I think the whole country is kind of feeling that right now. We had like 2 months to look at ourselves, and we didn't like what we saw.
Yeah.
So some people are changing, and some people are getting exposed.
Yeah.
I think that there was a lot of players that didn't take that 3 months and focus on their fundamentals and focus on what's going to carry them. So it's really important that you did it. It paid off for you, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think the time really helped, and I'm grateful for it to be able to just have 2 months to just train. That literally was it. Just know that the hard work, it definitely was going on during then, but just to know that the time was there, and I feel like I definitely took that opportunity when it came.
So going from what FC Baltimore to Tormenta, what happened in that? Where was the deal?
It was all not all through my agent, but agent Dan just helped me, just told me stay sharp, stay ready, and that's obviously the only thing I can do as a player is just show it on the field, and that's what I did. And then eventually with Corona, like it was up and down, obviously with the rates of Georgia, Maryland, like there was a lot of variables, but in the end it ended up working out. So I'm very very thankful for that, and it was a trying process clearly because it was training so high for so long. I was not piddling out, but it was just so high for so long. I was just so excited and anxious for so long to go somewhere, and then it eventually happened. Yeah, so it was very good.
I mean, I would like to say like that transition to becoming a professional. I would say like how was your adjustment like changing up your nutrition and your social life, doing the things you like to do, eating the things you like to eat. How
Mm-hmm.
was that?
So nutrition's an interesting one for me. I think last summer, two of my friends went vegan and vegetarianish, and I think I'm not against vegan or vegetarian at all. I think that one of them said it's the best decision he's ever made, and I don't doubt it. He's the fittest I've seen, and he's shredded. But I just think for me, it's just keeping a balance. I think telling myself I can't eat meat was just that was the one thing. Like I don't want to restrict myself. It's like if I wanted to eat meat, then I think I should, but I think just a balance. Like I think Monday through Friday when I was in Corona, I was just like, all right, I'm trying to eat healthy every day. And then weekends I could slack off a little. Like I didn't keep a rigorous one where if I ate meat, then oh man, I just ruined my 2 month work. It was more whatever felt good, just keep doing it. Like as long as my body was feeling good, I got all the nutrients I needed. I didn't need to make any drastic change, but I do stay away from junk food. That's I'd say like I try to eat as healthy as possible whenever I have the opportunity. But nutrition definitely started before I came down here. I knew that in order to be a pro, I had to act like one. So nutrition started before lifestyle. I, Soccer's always been my circle of friends, and everyone who's in my inner circle is related to me through soccer or family. So it stays that way. I think for most of my social life and college, obviously, I had made friends, made teammates, lifelong friends, obviously, and I'll always be thankful for what they gave me and the relationships. So yeah, I stay close with them. Um, and the lifestyle in general, you just have to start caring more. I would say like now since it's a job full time, there's a lot more you can do. Like I basically try to think of it as if this was a 9 to 5, how many things can I get done with my job in that time period that someone else can do at their job. So like even though it might not be during the hours of 9 to 5, like the yoga at night, the stretching, meditating, like all those things help me in the long run. Even though might not be straight back to back to back, it's still all helping me get to my goal, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's really important, like the saying, "Dress for the job that you want." In soccer, you really have to live the job before you really approach
Yeah.
becoming a professional.
Yeah, it's really about modeling your lifestyle so that when it's finally there, it's not a, oh geez, like I'm way behind. It's more, all right, these little tweaks I can do to improve and enhance the job that clearly you've already been doing.
Yeah. You don't sign the contract and then that day stop eating 12 cakes. Like, well, I can't eat cake anymore.
Yeah.
Nice. So you've been down there in Georgia for what, about a month?
Yeah.
And a half. Earlier in the talk, we talked about how important community was for you, how important family was, and you've always had them close. How have you adjusted to kind of being outside of your network and kind of, you know, farther away from that support group than you're used to?
For me, when I'm away, it's not that it's not connected or here physically that affects me. It's, I know that I'm down here because of sacrifices that my family, friends, everyone has made for me. So when I'm down here, I just know that I have to do it for everyone, not just myself. So it's always connected with me, knowing that I can reach out to any of them and they're going to be the happiest person to get a text from me, and vice versa. Like when someone reaches out to me, like I'm hoping that they're texting me about being the best that they are. Like I hope it's never bad news. So when reaching out to my friends and everyone, it's always checking in to see how they are genuinely. It's not a text just because you feel bad because you haven't talked to them in a while. It's more, I know you're doing well, so I'll check in and hopefully it continues that way. Like it's always in the back of my mind whenever I'm doing anything. Like I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for everyone who supports me. And I think that what helps me be able to be far, but still stay connected. So it's a good feeling.
Yeah, you're not quite as isolated as maybe you would be without technology.
Yeah, for sure. Like with the phone, it's really easy to just pick up the phone, see someone's face, and them be 10 hours away.
Yeah.
Would you say like making that decision to go to Tormenta, was it like, would you say it was a hard decision to make, leaving like almost all your things behind and going to a whole different place to play?
No, not for me. I like traveling. I like where soccer takes me. I like the experiences. I like the scenes and everything. I just like where it puts me. It puts my life in a happier place to me. And I think not I would do anything for soccer. Like it's my love, but wherever soccer takes me, I think we were talking about it after. Then it's a blessing, and I'm happy that it takes me there. But I'm always excited to go somewhere new challenges, and just keep pushing myself. I think that's going to be very important.
On the community piece, or really just being as a new player in a new club, you know, you sign the contract. What are some of the things that you're working through in this first month to kind of establish yourself and kind of build that community with, you know, around you?
Yeah. Just trying to be as friendly as possible and leave a memory. Like don't just be a jersey number through a town at one point. I want to leave an impression. Like when someone asks about me, it's he was a very nice guy, or yeah, I know him. He was there for us, or he always came out and did this. And I just wanted to leave that more sense, definitely now that my name is being out there more than in college. Obviously now it's a town or city that is behind the soccer team, so they all believe in their soccer team, and you're a face on that team. Just trying to be the best that I can be and leave an impression on as many people. I think, yeah, that's going to be key for me going forward for sure. And it started here, like all my teammates. I obviously am the newest one, so being friendly is obviously part of the job as well. But I think just trying to be a spirit that's happy. And obviously some days it's going to be hard and harder than others, but still at least, yeah, like this is what I'll do. And then I could go to my room and then be whatever. But as long as I'm in the public, I try to always smile, keep energy around when I see them off the field, see the community, and just try and be as happy as I can. So then people are like, all right, I can feed off that energy.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned a little bit of the difference between playing, doing that at Mason and then doing this. It's a city that's behind the team.
Yeah.
Has kind of your community facing or your PR and your media duties. Has that changed at all from being at Mason?
Yes, I think we have a video coming up next week where we speak to a local school with kids that are obviously not grown up in the best environments, and obviously their paths, they obviously not chosen for themselves. They're 10 years old, 9 years old, so it's good to try and reach other people, like hopefully this talk can, just to let people know that it can and will get better. There's struggles that we're all gonna face, but staying positive is really important, and it's very hard sometimes, very hard. And I have to understand that and just try and help as many people as we can. And I think that's a really good thing about Tormenta. Like, we are gonna talk to them. They have been talking before I came, and try and really reach the community, because like your community obviously is Statesboro for us, and that's the community we want to try and uplift to improve everything, connection with them,
yeah,
fans, relationships, yeah, everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's a really good message and really good on the team that you're taking that on, and being really front facing with the community that you're asking for support from. I think a lot of clubs kind of miss out on that because it's maybe a little more one-sided. Mm-hmm. Like, support us because we're playing a sport.
Yeah.
But we have to be there for each other.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Very important.
Yeah. Eddie, you have any other questions?
I guess I'll say from when you first came into Tormenta, how would you outlook saying like your first moment coming into like the training and stuff? Did you ever feel like overwhelmed? Did you feel nervous, or you already knew deep down inside that you had it?
It was definitely a combination of both. I think the nervous feeling comes before I think soccer started. Like, the new environment, new teammates, new coach, like everyone's gonna be looking at me. Obviously, you're the new guy, so like obviously you have to acknowledge it. Like, it's just there, so you can clearly look at it for a moment, but then automatically switch away from it, and then it becomes just soccer. Like, it's overwhelming for a little, and then once you know what you're there for, and that switches back on, and you lock in, and it's all gone out the window after the first time you pass a ball. So then it's gone after that. But yeah, I think overwhelming and anxious, like that. I was definitely feeling all of those. Like, I still get all those jittery feelings and everything. But once I lock onto the field, it's the field.
That's a good question. That kind of ties into a question that I had, because as a coach, you're bringing in players for a specific reason, right? Mm-hmm. So they're bringing you to produce X amount of goals mm-hmm. every match, every season, right?
Yeah.
How do you kind of work through that expectation?
I wouldn't say the expectation was necessarily lifted, but with the coaching change, I think a week after I signed, it was not. It was mixed feelings, clearly, because the coach is the one that brought me in, but then knowing that now I can impress another head coach now, it's a good feeling to know that they're judging based off of how you perform, and I don't think there's a fair way to get a chance. Then let's see what you can do, and obviously if it's good, then it's good, and if it's not, it's not. But it's you could take it as a tryout a day, even though it's already on the team. But it was just at that point I was just ready to play, and soccer still was soccer. So everything else, it was just not outside noise. Obviously, you have to pay attention to it, but it wasn't the main focus.
Right. Nice.
But the expectation is I like to relish it sometimes, like being one to look at or one to be looked out for. It's a good feeling. I think obviously you'd rather be looked out for than not to be worried about in some cases. So I liked it.
Awesome. So we did open it for questions in YouTube, a couple that we have. Somebody says, what advice do you give to those who wish to pursue their dream of playing professionally? I think this whole episode is kind of just a masterclass in, check these boxes off. Are you doing this? Have you made this decision today?
Yeah.
But if you want to hop in on that one, other bits of advice.
The main advice, just knowing what you want exactly and going and getting it. Like if it's to play professional soccer, obviously, then if you want to be a left wing, center mid, whatever it is, just study the game, try to perfect what you're good at, and just the little things add up. It's a lot of little things. The mental side, the school side. If you're in school, make sure you get that done. Nutrition, obviously, staying fit, type of person you are. Like it's a lot of things, but I would say the main thing is do everything 100%. I really not wish, but there were some days in the past when in college where I would take some days off, and I really regret not being able to go back and tell myself, like, hey, tomorrow we took today off. Tomorrow we can't go 120%. So it's just make sure you're going 100% every day, because you can't do more than 100% the next day because you took today off.
Got another question. What was the favorite goal you scored, and what made it special for you?
I think, I guess this past season against Dayton, there was a corner, came in, and then took a touch off my chest after it was rebounded and was my back facing the goal, and kind of just turned and hit it. And probably one of the cleanest strikes I think I've had on a volley and since I remember. And just the feeling of it going in, being down 2-0 at half and just rallying back. It was just a very moment on the field where it was just very exciting and everything was just happening at once. But I think it was just summing up how hard I had worked, and I was just letting out like anger with that shot, really, and just excited for it to go in. And that's one of the most recent ones I can remember.
Sounds like a fantastic goal.
I'm not gonna lie. I took a look on YouTube and I saw some of your highlights from college. Mm-hmm. You scored some nice goals. Hey,
bangers.
Yeah, you guys like that. You got some. You're nice at finishing. I remember. I think it was one goal you scored. I liked it because it's like I think it was a long shot and the keeper kind of blocked it, but it kind of creeped in.
Yeah, Gardner Webb. I think that was like 2 years ago.
I don't know. I like that goal because it's just like power. It was nice power.
Yeah. Thank you.
Another question on agents. So you kind of briefly mentioned the agent kind of facilitated a move to Tormenta. What advice do you have for young players in terms of agents and navigating that entire part of the sport?
Through my personal experience, I didn't get one until after my season and in January, I would say. It was pretty late for someone who's finishing in November and drafts and combines and everything are in December, November, and January. So I was pretty late, but I knew that I had to finish school. So anything that I could even pursue, I knew that it had to wait 6 months regardless. So I think pursuing an agent is very tricky. I think it's usually the other way for most players. An agent would approach them and then it goes from there. Unless you're taking the opposite approach, obviously, and aggressive. Like there's many agents like I see on Instagram and agencies, and it depends how you want to go about it. Like if you want to be aggressive with an agent, not with an agent, but pursuing one, then yes, you can easily put your film out there enough and hopefully one person will take a chance on you and vice versa. Like if you're performing on the field, then someone will notice hopefully. And if not, then you just keep at it and then go to combines, try and get into as many places as you can to be seen.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think there's a lot of things that go into agency for players to watch out for, in terms of the shady bits of agency. But it sounds like you had a good experience with your agent. So now that he's kind of facilitated your move, what do you do? Is he working on your next move? Are you guys still in contact, or how does that relationship work?
Well, yeah, we still talk. I think every couple of days, 2 days, 3 days, and more just seeing how things are at first. And obviously, as I'm playing, he knows obviously I like to focus and obviously giving me the space to perform and then check in how are things doing and that stuff. I think yes, obviously looking ahead, have to. So it's performing in the now so that better opportunities arise in the future, and hopefully that gets done. And have to rely on obviously your agent a little because they're the ones who are at the reins and in the office and in the phone of the coaches. So perform, and then obviously I have a say in the end of the day. So it's still a two-way street. Like it's not just if the agent wants you to go, then you're gone. It's obviously if you want to try somewhere, your agent can try it. And if you don't want to go somewhere that he tries to get you, then it's you're the one playing soccer at the end of the day. So it's still in our hands, but they're just the middlemen and the people that make everything move.
Awesome. So we are coming to the end of the episode. Eddie, do you have any other final questions?
I guess for everybody that's watching, to sum it all up, what's the final questions? What's the best advice you got that stuck with you till this day in your career? Best advice you got.
Best advice.
Somebody gave to you.
I guess it's definitely the best advice is believing in myself. And it's kind of a broad sentence, but believing in myself in the way that I'm good enough to do anything that I can or try. And this is not just with soccer, it was with life, obviously, because soccer will end one day for me, but just being the best me and just letting myself be free and happy. And I think, I know now. When someone told me that soccer will end one day, so like just enjoy it, because I was getting stressed. I was getting stressed for sure. And then they just said enjoy life, not just soccer. Like enjoy everything, take everything in. And I think that's the outlook I have now. Just being happy again, just living free and not trying to sound like a happy-go-lucky guy. Like, yeah, things are still up and down, but as much as I can, I just try to be happy with life and take things how they come and not stress, not be anxious, just be me. And I would just hope that whatever anyone who's watching this does is just be them. Like, don't try and fit a picture or a box, or don't try and do something because someone else tells you, I think you can do this. If that's not what you want to do, then that's not what you should do. And I just think just stuff like that.
So this is a really insightful episode. Tunde Akinlosotu, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Our co-host, and we're going to take a look at our sponsors for this episode with Tunde. We have B&G Customs for all of our apparel, One Step Beyond Fitness for our spiritual, mental, and physical needs. We have D17 Athletics, which is one of our grassroots sponsors. Davis Designs takes care of our stickers and magnets and transfers, and Leveling the Playing Field that helps us out with equipment. Thank you to our sponsors. This has been episode 14 with Tunde Akinlosotu. Stay tuned for episode 15 next time.
Nice meeting you, Tunde.
Nice meeting you as well. Thank you.
And good luck to whatever your whole career.
Yeah, hopefully it's a great one. It's a great one.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure.